Coke break. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me here again today. Today I am very excited because we have a new collection and we're going to talk about these guys today. The Morphe Coca-Cola collection palette and the lip gloss set. I took a look at the collection, of course, initially when it launched, and there was a highlighter as well. There was a couple shades of highlighter, but the packaging was pretty plain, so I decided to skip on it, and of course I've got a million highlighters, so that's the last thing I need. But the lip glosses in the palette seem to be pretty unique, and the packaging is really fun, so I figured we'd take a look today. I'm going to do swatches for you. I'm also going to do a try on. I'm going to create a little look on it. I haven't opened it up. I haven't even swatched it, so this is all going to be super brand new from when I opened the package, so we can give it a try from here. And if you want to see what it's like, keep on watching. Alright, as you can see, I've put on my little red shirt for you today. I don't actually own anything red, so this is actually a Canada t-shirt. So this is as good as it's gonna get, I'm sorry, but let's open this up and give it a try, alright? So, I haven't even opened it or swatched it or anything yet, so I'm very excited. I wouldn't consider myself like a huge Coke fan, but things like this are really cool to me, especially when they're so heavily themed. And looking at the shades online, they really appealed to me, so I was excited to get my hands on this. So the packaging is just cardboard, regular packaging, and it does have a mirror. Oh my gosh. This looks so nice. So, I don't want to blind you guys, but these are the shades. It comes with a little protector here with all the shade names on it. So I'm going to start off by giving you a swatch of each of the colors and telling you the names in here, and then we'll get into doing an actual demo. I've already got my brows on, so I'm ready to go right into eyes, but let's do the swatches first. Alright, from the top left we have Fizz, Bubble Up, Recognized, The Real Thing, Awaken, and Name Drop. Alright, and next we have Open Up, Cool Story, Always Bright, Good in Red, Pop Culture, and Add Life. And last row we have Happiness, Can Do, Move It, All the Feels, Energetic, Refreshing. Okay, so after those swatches, I was able to get a good feel for the shadows, and a lot of them are very soft and sort of buttery, which is nice. That's kind of my preference when it comes to shadows. Particularly the mattes too, they do feel quite nice. The cool thing about this too is that there's a couple of shades here that I would describe almost like toppers, like Fizz and Cool Story, which are almost duochrome and reflective, but they're not heavily pigmented, so they wouldn't be something that you'd probably want to lay down as your sole color on the lid. So that would be something you'd have to probably layer on top of something, so keep that in mind. There's also two pressed glitters in here. This one is called Pop Culture, which is an actual like true Coke red. And then we've also got the shade here, which is called Happiness, which is almost like a duochrome glitter as well. It's almost silver / pinky red. So you've got some variety in there too. And as you can see from the swatches, they swatch pretty nicely, but I would still definitely lay down a glitter glue before popping them on their own so they don't end up everywhere. Because even trying to remove them from my arm from the swatches was a little bit kind of spotty. Alright, so let's create an eye look. I'm really not sure what I want to do. There's so many options, so let's just hop right into it and create something. Let's go. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so I brought you in a little bit closer so you can see what we're going to be doing. And I've already primed my lids with a little bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. So my lid is blanked out for the most part. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a little bit of the shade. I'm going to keep the shade name thing here because they're not, that's one thing that drives me nuts, is that not printing the shade names on a palette. So when you're trying to describe it, you're always having to reference either the box or a sheet like this, which has the shade names on it, but it's not actually attached to the palette. So that's a little bit frustrating, but we're going to continue on. So I'm going to take Bubble Up, which is that really light matte sort of bone color, and I'm going to run that under both as my base to blend into. Now I'm going to start with only doing one eye, and then I'll do the other one off camera just to keep this video under 45 minutes long. Alright, so we've got that. laid down, and I'm popping that on with a Morphe M441. Cool. So that's on there. I'm going to continue using the same brush, and I think I'm going to pick up a little bit of the Real Thing. And I'm going to mix it with Recognized. They're both beside each other. They're kind of transitional shades on the top row. And I'm going to pop that right in the upper crease. I'm actually going to use something a little bit fluffier. I'm going to pop in with a Morphe M330. Okay. I'm not mad at that as my transitional. Of course, this palette, the first thing that jumped out to me were the red shades. Now, technically, according to the box, which I have here, according to the box, the shades that are technically pressed pigments and are not meant to be used around the eyes are Always Bright and All the Feels, which are the two bright, like Coca-Cola red colors in here. So, of course, use at your own risk. They probably have some staining quality to them, so be careful if you decide to use them on the eye. I'm going to use them on the eye because that's kind of the reason why this palette sort of spoke to me, because red shadows are really hard to find, good quality ones. And I love the theming of this palette too, so it all kind of tied together and I had to get it. So here we are. I'm going to pop the red shade on my eye. I'm going to start in with Always Bright, which is the brighter of the two reds in the palette. And I'm going to start that as almost my secondary transition color in the eye. Ooh, okay. She's there, girl! Okay, I've got that blended out to a spot that I think I'm happy with. I can always, of course, go in and blend it a little bit more, but I think we're at a spot where we can continue and start adding. I'm going to pick up on the Morphe M33, and I'm going to take that little bit of a darker shade red, the shade is called Good in Red, and tuck that right into the lower crease area. Keep it a little bit tighter, so it kind of gradiates out. The red just gets softer and softer as it moves out. Now on a MAC 221 brush, I'm going to pick up the shade Good in Red, and that's going to tuck right into that crease. It almost looks the same. Actually it's a little bit brighter. I'm just really get that edge. Okay, so now to deepen the crease a little bit more, because I want there to be a bit more depth with those reds, I'm going to pick up the shade All the Feels, which is a more super warm, deeper brown. And that's just going to tuck right in that outer corner. I lied, I'm going to take Refreshing too. Yeah, there we go. That's the depth that I want on that outer corner. Okay, I am getting a little bit of patchiness, almost like the brown doesn't want to blend with the red. And that could be potentially because the red shades are pressed pigments and the brown is an eyeshadow, that the formulations don't really mix fantastically together. And I mean, realistically, they gave me the warning, you're not supposed to put the reds on the eyes, so that's more or less my problem. But I don't dislike it. I just wish that they blended a little bit nicer together, in my honest opinion. All right, I'm gonna try something else here. I'm gonna take a little bit more of a denser flat eyeshadow brush, and I'm gonna press this in the outer corner and get it really intense. And then I'm going to take a small blender, clean blender brush, and just diffuse the edge a little bit to see if I can get the intensity there without losing any of the color or the pigment. All right, now with a small, almost flat concealer brush, I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. I'm gonna cut the crease out, and then we're gonna go in with another shadow on top. Crease here. Tap over the cut crease here so we get a nice, decently seamless blend. Yeah, there we go. These reds actually are very nice. I do like it quite a bit, but I don't know that because it's a pressed pigment, which I've had this problem before, it's not exclusive to this palette. This problem is pressed pigments obviously have a different formulation, so they don't blend as well, like they don't have the binders like traditional just eyeshadows do, so they have a hard time blending with traditional eyeshadows. So do I knock this palette for that? No, but now I know that I can't, like if I'm gonna do a red look, I have to do it with just the reds in this palette, which is fine. I'm happy with that. But now we're gonna go with glitter. I'm gonna pick up that same shader brush that I applied my Anastasia Beverly Hills primer with. Pick that up, and I'm gonna do a very thin layer of glitter glue, Too Faced glitter glue. Same teeny tiny little shader brush. I'm gonna pick up the glitter. The shade is called Happiness, and just whoop. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye off camera. I'll put my lashes on, and we will complete the bottom of the eye and then talk about lip. See you in a few. Bye! All right guys, so I've completed the complexion. Everything is done in that regard, and I ended up completing one of my eyes, and I'm gonna do the other one here for you now to show you how I did it. But on the top in particular, I ended up doing liquid liner and my lashes, but in the process I noticed there was a little bit of a weird gap between where the red crease and the cut crease kind of meshed with the black liner. So I ended up adding a little bit of black eyeshadow from a different palette, but that's okay. I mean, not all palettes come with black eyeshadows. That's not a make or break for me because I have so many. But if you're someone who likes black eyeshadow in your palettes, or for your palettes to come with them in particular, this one does not have one. So take that into consideration if you consider this palette. But otherwise, it's worked out just fine in terms of making it work. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Always Bright and just keep that pretty tight and the intensity really close to the lash line. And then to blend that out, I'm gonna take a little bit of a fluffier brush. I've got that applied really tight to the lash line. And then I'm gonna pick up a Morphe M506, which is a smaller, tight blender brush, and just blend that down. And again, with that small definer brush, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Good and Red, which is that deeper red. Press that in the outer corner. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of black pencil eyeliner. I'm using the Sephora waterproof black pencil liner, and I'm gonna run that right in the waterline. And I'm gonna touch into that black eyeshadow just a bit. On the very, very tip of my brush, just to blend that black eyeliner into the reds. And then the last step on the eye is I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade Fizz, which is that really light duochrome color in the top left of the palette. And that's just gonna go in the inner corner like that, just to highlight. And bring it down. It's a little bit chunky. It's got a little bit of fallout, so have a brush handy to kind of dust that away. Otherwise, the color's nice. It does have that definitely like a little bit of a dual chrome. On my skin, it looks a little bit blue, and I've definitely got lots of fallout here, but I'm just gonna cover that up with powder anyway. I can just run a little bit of my Studio Fix on top of that just to disguise it. Yeah, like it's gone. That is fine. Yeah, that's fine. We're good. And then bottom lash mascara. The eyes are done. And you'll probably notice that my lighting changed a little bit from before. One of my softbox lights literally just died in the middle of completing my complexion, which is hecka annoying. So sorry about that. I had to open my window that's in front of us here. Cool. Alright. So now it's time for lips. So the shades are, this one is called Overflow, which looks like a white sort of just like top coat. It's got a little bit of a silvery reflect. Next we've got, which is my favorite in the collection, called Share, which looks like this. Then we've got Classic Babe, which is a true like Coca-Cola can red. And then we've got a deeper sort of almost cola color. This one's called Tastemaker. So let's go ahead and check out the swatches before we try them on the lip. Overflow, Share, Classic Babe, Tastemaker. All right, let's do some live lip swatches on my actual lip. So I've put on a little bit of lip primer on my lip, on my clean lip, and I'm gonna go in first on its own with Overflow. It has a bit of a, I guess it could kind of have like a cola scent. It's maybe a bit more vanilla than cola. This is Overflow on its own. It's got a little bit of pigment. It's definitely lightened the color of my natural lip. And it's got almost a golden sort of reflect in it. It's really pretty. It's probably what I'm gonna wear with this look for today, just because the eye is so heavy. So I want something that's a little bit softer on the lip. But would be a great topper on top of basically anything. It would add a little bit of a golden glow, and it would lighten it a bit, so keep that in mind. All right, next in the collection is the shade Share. This is my personal favorite. This is one that I'm probably gonna wear the most. All right, this is the shade Share, which is a light sort of pinky peachy nude. It's not overly heavily pigmented, but there's definitely color there. I'm 100% probably gonna use this entire thing because it's definitely in the color range that I tend to choose for myself as an everyday. And I'll wear this on top of all of my lipsticks. So that is the shade Share. All right, next is Classic Babe, which is the true Coca-Cola red color. All right, well, this is Classic Babe. Definitely like they tried to emulate the labeling of a Coca-Cola bottle for sure with this one. Because if I hold it up, I just happen to have a bottle of Coke right here. They are pretty close. Like you can tell that that's what they were going for. And I think it's great. I think they did a great job. I like the color. It'll definitely be more of a topper coat for me. Like if I do a really intense bright red, this would be something that I put on top of it. I doubt that I'm gonna wear it a lot on its own, just because if I'm wearing a red lipstick, I want it to be red. I want it to be opaque. I want it to be rich. And this on its own doesn't quite give me that, so I'd want to put it on top of something. And I think it'll be beautiful on top of a red lipstick, but on its own, it's just not for me. But that's okay. If you like red lip gloss to wear solely on its own, this might be for you. Now let's go into the last shade in the collection. All right, and the last shade in the collection is called Tastemaker, which I imagine the envision was kind of like a deeper brown cola sort of color, and it's got some shimmer in it, so maybe that is supposed to represent some carbonation. I don't know. I'm just shooting to the wind right now. But that's what this kind of gives me the vibe of. All right, and the last shade in the collection for lips is Tastemaker, which looks like this. I expected it to be darker and I expected it to be browner, but it's actually a little bit softer than it looks in the actual container, which is nice because this is something that I'll actually get use out of. I don't generally gravitate to brown lips for myself. I just don't think they're complimentary on me, but this is something that I'll use as a topper on top of nude lips if I want to kind of add a little bit of dimension. The glitter that's in here is undetectable. You can't feel any texture from any of the shimmer or the glitter that's in this gloss. Same with the first one that we tried on, the Overflow, which has a little bit of a reflect in it. You can't detect any of the glitter in it, which is beautiful. I love that. They're all very smooth, not sticky at all. 100% love them. And I will definitely get use out of them. I'm just kind of disappointed how small they are because I wish they were a little bit bigger, because I'll probably, the first shade that we try, or the second shade that we tried, sorry, Share, this is gonna be like a staple. I might get another set of the collection if it's still available just for this color to throw in my bag. All right, so that is everything in the collection. I'm going to check back with you in a second and give you my final thoughts. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the palette itself and the lip gloss set. So I paid $27 for this guy. Sorry, my order summary is right here. $27 for this guy directly from Morphe, as well as the lip gloss set was $23.40. I did use the influencer code, so I did get a little bit of a discount on that, which is great. And now I'm going to talk about the glosses themselves. The only sort of qualm I have about these, I think they're beautiful. I'm going to use all of them for sure. The difficult thing is though is that I don't know where this one kind of fits in the theming and the brand of this. These three make sense to me in terms of the actual branding and the color story. This one on the other hand doesn't make sense to me, although it's my favorite and the one I'm probably going to use the most. But I get why they do it. They want it to be a little bit more wearable and kind of appeal to a wider audience. So I do like this color and I like the whole collection. I think it's really cute. So will I use them all? Yes. Do I think it's worth it? Yes. Next on the docket is the palette itself. I do really like this. The theming is cute. I wish they would have done something maybe a little bit like flashier maybe with the collection. Like this doesn't say, like I can see that it's Coca-Cola, but it's not, like I just wish it was a little bit more, a little bit like had a little bit better theming. Like this is just kind of like blah to me. Like no, I don't know. I don't work, obviously, in product design, so here I am. Anyway, the color story itself totally makes sense to me. I get it. I do like the shades that they've chosen to put in here. The only qualm I have about it is, of course, the two shades that I purchased this palette for are pressed pigment, so they don't work particularly well with regular shadows or anything else that's in here unless you're going to pair them with maybe a pressed glitter or a top coat. Then that might be a little bit better. I did feel like I had a little bit of difficult time blending, but they warned me about that. They put that these were pressed pigments on the actual packaging, so can I be mad? No. Am I mad? No. I do really, really like this palette, and the top row is speaking to me, and I'm going to use it a lot, and I will get really good use out of this palette. I do like it. The only other qualm I have about this, maybe, is that the shade names are not on the actual palette anywhere. They're not on the box, they're not on the front, they're not on the back. It's just on this little sort of like clear protector sheet, which is kind of annoying to me because if I want to continue using this palette and explain the shades that I'm doing, I'm going to be forced to keep this because it's not anywhere else on the palette. So maybe if you're going to do a collection that has such a focus on theming, having the names that you've created for the shadows in the actual palette somewhere would be good, and I would like that. So that's my only real like critique about the actual palette itself, other than I wish the theming was a little bit stronger. All in all, do I like the product? Yes. Will I continue to use them? Absolutely, because obviously I've paid for them, and I do like them a lot. I think it's really cute. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me here again today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and give me a subscribe if you want to see my next video. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye!